All right, Gina Maron, welcome to In the Nod. Gina is a Kundalini yoga teacher. She is an author. Very excited to talk about her books. She is a retreat facilitator. She is a trauma healing and recovery healing facilitator. She's a spiritual psychologist. She has a degree in spiritual psychology and all around wise woman, radiant wise woman, and just like one of the most amazing women I know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So happy to be here.
I'm so happy too. I feel like there's so many places we could start, but I'd love to start with the book and the process of writing the book. And like this, it's full of so much. Okay, I'm just opening to a random page 132, sensory intelligence as a lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, well, first I have to preface that I have 4 daughters.
Okay.
Because
right, we didn't say mother.
Yes, and because they have been my biggest teachers. So I have a 28-year-old, a 25-year-old, and twins that are 19, and they're all girls. And that's how that book started, really, because when my oldest was 3, I saw patterns, generational patterns, and I wanted to show up for my daughters and not project my own stuff onto them.
Yeah. And
I knew that I needed to do some deep work. That was 25 years ago.
This is huge, Gina, because I feel like, there are a lot of people who are getting born in this time who are the cycle breaker for their family. And yet it is so hard. It takes so much energy. It takes so much, grit and staying power to really get through it. And so much self-belief, because when you are trying to break the cycle, the generational cycle that has followed your family for generations, you have so much against you.
Well, I feel like speaking to healing, and letting go of all of the patterns, the imprints that were projected onto me as my way of living. And I saw that I couldn't continue to raise. I wanted to raise daughters that had a voice, that were empowered, that could know and trust themselves, which I didn't. So that was a journey for me. And when I want to say self-love and self-acceptance, but it started there for me.
Yeah.
Really taking responsibility for everything, just in the home.
Yeah.
I would call my ex-husband, I was married for 38 years, so I really know about, finding your space, your voice in a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
I met him when I was 18.
Yeah.
So it was a long time, and I gave my power away.
Yeah.
And not knowing. Actually, it stems from, I won't get into childhood trauma, but it did come from, I never felt safe.
Yeah.
And that's why the book's called Home Frequency.
Love it.
Because it's where I feel, it's that feeling of sovereignty.
Yeah.
The feeling of wherever I go, there I am, and I can trust and feel safe in my body.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
Yeah.
So I would just turn to outside things for feeling and loving and connecting to myself for validation and acknowledgement. And that was the journey. And then I would see it's how that programming I was kind of living and projecting that onto my daughter, Marlon. Right? I could see that the way my mom raised me, that everything was just be beautiful, you'll get everything you want.
Right.
Right?
Sure.
It served me in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But it also took me in dark paths of places that I was like, whoa, which is why I started activating a deeper sense of intuition as my safety net. And that is what has served me now. I never really owned it as like a gift that I use in coaching, intuitive coaching. I feel like, and now with all the skills, the modalities and everything, which is in that book, that I can trust that what's coming through me is exactly what the person needs.
Right.
Because I've taken myself on such a deep journey of healing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you didn't do the spiritual bypassing.
No, I did not. I was like, and I can say that with so much courage and strength of heart.
Yeah.
I was on my hands and knees a lot praying for guidance.
Yeah.
And then it went, as I started learning and trusting, I was like, bring the obstacles and the challenges in, because this is what we have as this is the human school. This is, we're learning through these challenges.
Yeah.
And so then it's like there's an acceptance piece that if I am faced with this challenge and I can overcome it, I'm building self-trust. And that's how I can live sovereign, because I can fully trust myself that I'll know how to handle situations. Any situation.
Yeah.
And there's been many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you started to invite the challenges in so you could really feel yourself and feel that your ability to alchemize things. Yeah.
So, for example, Bob would travel a lot, all over the world. And I had abandonment issues. My dad left when I was little. My mom had to work and support us, me and my brother. And my brother was a drug dealer. I was home alone a lot. I was little. I was 10. My grandma would drop off groceries. It was like, I was neglected.
Yeah.
I never really owned that.
Sure.
But it was neglect.
Yeah.
And when I met Bob, I feel like I manifested him, because I was like, God, I will do the work. I made a soul contract that if I shine my light and I am the best version of myself, lifting humanity up, even as a little kid, I knew, right? Protecting my friends.
Yeah.
And bring me someone that would just make me feel like I can be safe. And Bob shows up. But he was bigger than life. And I just leaned into him. And so my nervous system could self-regulate and self-soothe. And so that, I mean, I feel like so as I had kids, then I was at a place where I don't know who I am in this space. So I would call him and say, oh, how should I handle this? How could I, you know what I mean? So he has been one of my biggest teachers. But going back to every time he left when he traveled, I felt abandoned. So I started reparenting myself as I was raising my kids, which I have a lot of passion for.
Yeah.
Speaking to reparenting ourselves.
Yeah.
And how our children can teach us that.
Yeah. I love this part in the book where you talk about letting your body do the talking. And I feel like this is such a place of power and information. And can you just talk a little bit more about, like, this is a tool set, that one of the tool sets that you use? I mean, I'm sure you have so many tools, Kundalini yoga, one of them, but this one I'm very curious about.
Well, see, this kind of goes in order in a way too. So it's about, so when you get to that place of sensory awareness, which it took many modalities and many moments of me doing things, because I was chasing a feeling. I didn't actually know what the feeling was, but whether it was devotional chanting before Kundalini, like kirtan, and being in spaces where I could feel something, I knew that was a superpower to have. And you could start with like intuition, right? We have that, but how do you amplify that? So I really amplified that. And I could, even now, as I started dating, I would say to men, if it feels good, I'll stay. If it doesn't feel good, I'm leaving. I don't need to make excuses. I don't need to, people please.
Right.
It's like, it's so embedded in a sensory level for me that it's even with going out with friends or having experiences, because I look at myself like an energy bank account, right? Is it a debit or a credit? So does it feel good? Then yes, it's a credit. Yeah. And then we can go into life force energy. We only have so much life force energy that we're gifted. Yeah. And I'm so conscious and aware of, like, I am not going to use my reserves. Yeah. I'm going to wait till I'm like 80.
Yeah. Well, I just love, like, okay, so this, I guess I just have to say, like, I just love this book. I mean, I haven't read it at all, but every page I flip to, I'm like, this is an incredible manual for self-healing, self-relationship. I mean, I would say, I wonder if you agree that self-divorce, self-estrangement is certainly one of the, like, cruelest wounds to experience, and also a major epidemic plaguing the world where you're so disconnected. There we go, self-disconnection. And this is such an approachable and accessible and at the same time deep and sophisticated manual for
it's practical.
Coming back to
it's
self,
very practical.
home frequency. Home frequency.
And I think what inspired it the most was working in trauma. So when I worked at Serenity Trauma Center in Malibu, you know, I was in Kundalini teacher training. And
right.
I saw how they were so disconnected from themselves. And I was like, I need to write tools of what I did. So basically that book comes from 17 years of journals.
Got it. Wow.
And I reread my journals. I put them in chronological order.
Wow.
And so this is like, and I did it for my kids. Like, if you want to know my journey, starting out, who am I from a soul level?
Yeah.
Not who I am with labels and roles and, you know.
Your mom.
Exactly.
And I have these
I'm
expectations.
I'm, you know, a spiritual psychologist, but who am I and what is my driving force? What is my why? What makes me wake up in the morning? And you have to feel something.
Yeah.
Right? You can't be disconnected from that.
Right.
So that is the first step is to get in touch. So going to kirtan, doing Kundalini yoga. You know, the first time I did Kundalini yoga was at Golden Bridge.
Right. The Shakti dance.
It's in there. So then movement, then the ecstatic dance came in.
Dancing.
And then I started this whole thing. I always wanted to be of service. So then I was like, oh, okay, for all the moms, I started this movement called Dance Your Truth. I did this. Remember that?
Yes, of course.
And then the moms are like, I couldn't call it ecstatic dance because they're like, ecstatic and dance.
It's branded.
I'm out.
Oh, for sure. Got it. It's
like,
not brand. Yeah, it's not classy.
Right. Well, they were nervous to go there. So there's layers and levels of transformation and healing.
Right.
But Kundalini gave me an opportunity to just really be like, oh, okay, there you are. Without, you know, getting out of my head and into my heart.
Right.
And getting into and all the 10 bodies.
Right. All 10 bodies, baby. Wow.
And then amplifying the radiant body and my aura. And it's just like, I was like, oh, wow. Okay. This, my mind understands.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that our mind has to come on board.
For sure.
Before the body can. When it comes to sensuality and sexuality and amplifying yourself and have a bigger experience of yourself, you can't think your way through these things. You have to feel your way through it, speaking to the feeling and the sensory body.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question separate from the book and a little bit more around motherhood and being a woman? And when did you feel like, I feel like a lot of moms, their kids get to a certain age, they're going into kindergarten, right? And then they feel like, oh my God, I have time on my hands. Like, what am I going to do at that time? Or the opposite, which they feel like, I don't have time on my hands. How am I going to go back to work? You know, do I even want to work? Do I need to work? And I'm sort of curious, and you talk about doing all these different things. The mother of 4, how did you do all that? And when did it start?
When did it start where I started living for me as well?
When did you start living for you as well?
I just felt that, I always felt that I was more than a mother. And I would tell my kids, you know what, you're my teacher as well. So you're just a vehicle.
Right.
I'm just a vehicle you came through. So it's like, I want to find myself in this as well. You know, I don't have all the answers. So it wasn't like I was the traditional, like, I know what's best for you.
Right.
You know, it's like, I was like, we're raising each other. Right. So I kind of just had a different perspective from how to raise my kids. Yeah. It was more fun.
Yeah.
And it was more rewarding for me.
Yeah.
And in that, I just found things that inspired me. First of all, I would like to make the mundane magical.
Okay.
It got very down the same streets, packing the lunches for kids. So I was like, how can I shake this up a little bit? And then also stay in the community as a mother, and have my children involved, having the moms involved. So I just started doing things as I was exploring and learning, I brought those lessons into my community.
Got it.
So it's like I was blending. It wasn't like I wasn't still parenting, right? I was still very heavily involved in my parenting, but I also included them on the journey of self-actualization, awakening. I took them on these things with me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But also, I mean, like you getting into your work and taking the getting your spiritual psychology degree, and then, working at the trauma center. And I feel like you're doing so much while being a mom. That
started because I knew that I needed to change the patterns. That's all.
Yeah.
So the spiritual psychology, the first thing I did was holotropic breath.
Got it.
And that was because I knew I needed to do something different to heal. And I knew that it wasn't just talk therapy.
Yeah, right. Since you're, moving through so many modalities across the healing spectrum, what have you discovered?
Well, for my own experience, because I can only share from that, and then I took it into what I do now, is that I felt that it perpetuated the lower frequency of that story that I was telling myself.
Yeah.
So it's not like I disowned it.
Right.
It is me. It is my story. But I chose not to talk about it because when I talk about it, it's staying in my energy field.
Yeah.
It's landing and then it becomes my thoughts.
Right.
And I remember being with a therapist and I said, I will no longer tell this story anymore. And I didn't. I reframed it as, that was my past. It is who I am. It walks with me, but it doesn't define me anymore. So I can't tell that story the same.
Yeah.
And so when I'm coaching and I'm working with people in the trauma center, firstly, and then in addiction, I say, I'm not a therapist. I'm a transformational coach. I'm here to give you tools and resources to move forward.
Yeah.
So if you're telling that story, and if you're going to keep saying that story, you're in victimization of your story. And I don't want to be a victim.
I'm curious about people who say, oh, that's spiritually bypassing, because I don't want to hang out with my negative old story anymore. That's spiritually. Do you ever hear that? People say that to you?
I
or you just don't even worry about the haters?
No. I think a spiritual bypass, from what I learned it to be, is where we say we're okay when we're not okay.
Got it.
We say we are doing all. It's like if I did all of these modalities, but I didn't really get honest with myself. So when I was married, I started self-medicating in spiritual psychology because I was unhappy.
Yeah.
Because there was parts of me that weren't expressed, that were shut down.
Yeah.
So when I got honest with myself, I'm not happy, and I have all these tools and resources, but I'm still not happy. So it's like I have to make some changes.
Yeah.
It's not just going to a sound bath and doing all these beautiful spiritual things, even going to a retreat.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to clear. I wanted a clear path of where I was going.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I wasn't honest with myself, and as soon as I got honest with myself, I was like, now I can speak from this place. Yeah. Because it took me time. It took me time because I was afraid of hurting other people.
Yeah. How did you practice self-forgiveness and self-acceptance during that duration?
There's skills. At USM, where I got my master's in spiritual psychology, there was 32 skills we learned.
Oh, wow.
One of them was compassionate self-forgiveness. And it's an actual skill that we do where you say it out loud and you go through the judgments that you place on yourself.
Wow.
So it says like, I forgive myself for judging myself for
thing. Taking this amount of time to
whatever these things
say
are.
The truth of my being.
Yeah, you go through the day. So I would do it every night before I went to bed. And I would scan my day, and then you end with, but the truth is, I'm a good mom, and I'm doing the best I can right now.
Yeah.
So you end with all the truths. So you're doing it. It's like self-psychology.
Yeah.
It's a skill. The first skill is heart-centered listening. Especially in rehab, I'm like, we're going to do heart-centered listening. You're going to consciously drop from your head into your heart. You're going to see your heart with ears, eyes, and mouth, because that is a mind. That is a place you can live. That's your soul. So like, practice it. And for years, I would go into Whole Foods. I'm like, okay, I'm dropping out of my head. Like, I had to train myself.
Oh my gosh.
Into my body, into my heart. And I'm just going to walk around.
Do you mind if I ask you a little bit about your process of divorce?
I think there was a process of integration where I was like, whoa, this is real.
Okay.
Like we've moved on.
Yeah.
And I felt like very dysregulated. And, I just didn't know what to do with those feelings. So I didn't have a lot of creativity. I didn't have a lot of motivation. I wasn't inspired a lot. But then it gave me a time to just sit with feelings and be like, okay, how am I going to take away the blessings?
Right. How am I going to keep the blessings from this experience?
Exactly. Because I could be angry and resentful, but again, why would I do that to myself? And why would I perpetuate that kind of feeling in my body and even talk about it?
Yeah.
Because then it keeps it alive. And I chose to thank him for the biggest gift he gave me, which is myself, because he would leave a lot. And in that, I would say, like, oh my God, why are you like, I'm supposed to be like, we're a team.
Right.
Why, and then he met, other people that amplified him and his career, started traveling with them. And I felt left out, but those feelings I had to deal with. And that he has been my biggest teacher, because he gave me an opportunity to feel whole and complete.
Yeah.
I mean, we're really good friends and we respect each other. So I did, like I said, when I left, I said, we'll be better friends than married. The marriage, the contract's up.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't fit what we're both doing right now. And we were both nervous. We were a little scared.
Yeah.
But that was like our little inner child.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're besties. Like, what are we going to do? Even if we're not really talking to each other sometimes in the house.
Right.
You know that person. You're comfortable with them. And we just navigated it together.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Do you think that part of this was you just like, okay, what is the contract? What is the contract? Is it done? Because you didn't, I guess what I'm saying, the contract was up, but you didn't end it artificially. You didn't end it early.
No, I think what happened was we both realized that we have different interests. We like to do things that are different.
Yeah.
So I didn't end it. There was no reason to end it. It was just shape-shifting into a new way of living and loving each other. And we couldn't live together.
Yeah.
We could still love each other, but we have to love each other differently. Like, he has a partner, so I'm going to love her because she makes him happy. Yeah. And I want him to be happy.
Totally.
So it's just reframing and acceptance, and I want my kids to see us happy.
Talk about pro-aging. Like, are we ready to talk about that?
Yeah, let's do it.
I just don't think anybody can believe how you've moved through time.
Well, I feel like seeing your life like a pie chart. What are you doing for your emotional, mental, spiritual, physical, nutritional, relationship, play dates with yourself, unscheduled time? Like, I really look at my life, so I touch on each one of them, and I'm really conscious and aware that I'm feeling very whole and complete. So I'm not drained in one area or overcompensating somewhere else.
Right.
So
or distracted in another area.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like that harmonious feeling lowers the cortisol, the nervous system feels regulated, you're just very at peace, satiated. Yeah. Yeah. Is the right word. Like, you just feel, and then I know if I'm not doing my Kundalini. Right. If I go like 4 or 5 days, I can feel what it's doing to me energetically. Yeah. And then it's kind of wreaking havoc for all those other things. Yeah. They can't fully, I'm making bad choices with food. I'm not fully present with my daughters. I'm not the best in relationship right now. So I can see like how I live very harmoniously. And if you think of it like as a whole person.
Yeah. So you have a strong work-joy balance.
Yes.
Would be one part of pro-aging.
I don't push myself in either. And I allow myself to listen. So if I don't feel like going to the gym, I don't. But it's being okay with it.
Right.
It's the compassionate self-forgiveness.
Right.
You know, and that is something that's a skill that you have to teach yourself. I mean, pro-aging.
Yeah.
Okay, there's so much to talk about. Like Shilajit.
Shilajit?
I've been doing that since 2000. I like Shashandra and Goji drops. You know,
Those
like
does Shashandra make you sexy?
Shashandra is vitality,
Okay.
and it amplifies the blood
Yeah.
circulation.
Okay.
Feel that, we start feeling good. We
Right.
do things that feel good, and then we feel sexy,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like, what is your secret sauce around opening up sexuality?
Well, you do have to go to therapy.
Yeah.
So you have to create a new relationship with that part of your body.
Yeah.
You know, that's a journey. I didn't have sexual trauma. My mom was very open sexually, and I am very open sexually with my girls. We talk about sexuality all the time. You know, I tell them your body is for pleasure. So if you have the blocks of trauma, then you know you have to go and hold that space.
Yeah.
And feel safe.
Yeah.
And love that part that you know it's a lot. I'm not a therapist of sexual trauma.
Sure.
But I don't want to speak to that right.
Yeah.
But once it gets to a place
Yeah.
of receiving yourself,
Yeah.
and you can start, then it has, how can I feel?
Right.
Right. Feel like sensation. Because if you block it, you're not feeling yourself. You're not giving yourself the full experience of life. I just feel like sexuality to me is creativity. So if my sexual energy is blocked, I can't write. I can't be creative. I don't even get inspired. So I use sexuality as a portal to my creativity. I'm very intentional with my sexuality.
Interesting.
And I'm lucky to have a boyfriend that is very intentional as well.
Yeah.
So we have altars, we sit down before we even meet each other in a sexual space. We set intentions for how we want to show up for each other.
Wow.
And who do we want to keep out of our circle tonight? Like, who do we not want to bring in?
Right.
Because we want to maybe just create a sacred space for us to receive each other. And so that's been really beautiful to experience that. And, I wasn't always like open. Like, okay, here I am.
Right.
In all my body parts.
Yeah.
Until I started really accepting and loving, but through another partner that was accepting and loving and sharing, it's like a dance.
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful.
Yeah. But you had access to your pleasure. Your pleasure was not shut down. And then it's been a process of bridging more of the sacred into your sexuality.
Well, it's more into self-acceptance and self-love. Like we criticize our bodies so much as women that when you come from a place of feeling instead of thinking, do I look good?
Right.
Do I look okay down there? Or
Got it.
do I look, am I too heavy? Am I too skinny? Am I
right?
Right. When you start appreciating what your body is providing for you, and you can understand that with Kundalini when you are like the glandular system, opening up, you feel sensual and sexual. At least I do. So how do we take that energy and share it with someone that we feel safe with and ourselves? And I think it's also with just communication.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do we let the sexuality open up the chakras and go into the aura and just...
And then a lot of it's movement, like intentional movement and Right now I'm into the pelvic floor. Like I'm doing this lady libido. She's
my
all over
God.
Instagram, but I'm doing all these techniques and like I'm on my toes like frog pose, but I'm bent down and I'm moving my pelvis and
Oh my God.
I'm just like, whoa, this is next level.
Yes. This is
always-
amazing.
Oh, whoa. It's like so intense.
Yeah.
But I can just like, yeah, there's on my body. And now I want to express it.
Wow.
So it's like there's different
Hot.
layers and levels. And I love teaching it. And I love working with women
my
and
God.
helping them explore where they are in that journey.
And so people can obviously come see you at Veritas Yoga. They can order the books on Amazon or just Barnes and Noble?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
Connecting with me on Instagram.
Instagram.
Shows-
Do you have any digital courses right now or they're all in person?
I don't, but I'm working on one with Sydney. We have
Amazing.
one, the Phoenix Rising program.
Oh
It's
my
going to be 4 months, but it's going to
God.
be online only.
Great. Amazing.
And
yeah, because
starting a new dance with Maya Fines,
wow, cool.
Do you know her?
Of course.
good friend of mine.
Amazing.
We're doing Kunda dance together at Veritas on Tuesdays.
Incredible. Incredible. I didn't realize she was in California right now.
She's in Costa Rica,
Okay.
coming back.
Great.
But yeah, we're really good friends. So
Oh,
I'm really
fantastic.
excited to co-create with her.
Oh my gosh.
What else is going on? Yeah, my retreat.
Your retreats. People
The
can go
Renaissance
retreat.
retreat. We're going to be in Paris going to museums, and then we're going to go to a seaside castle and create our own masterpiece through painting.
Gorgeous.
And we're doing photo shoots.
Oh my
of
God.
our archetypes. It's gonna be very yoga, of course.
Oh my gosh.
Good food.
Incredible.
Communal gathering. I mean,
Incredible.
women coming together
Oh my
has been
God.
the biggest gift for me
Yeah.
in my healing.
The sisterhood.
Sisterhood community.
Yeah.
All the mentors that I've met along the way,
Yeah.
including you.
Well, we've had an amazing sisterhood.
Yeah,
we have.
we've had some fun.
We have had
And,
so much
yeah.
fun and so many deep times too. And yeah, I feel like I love you.
I love you too.
Yeah, in the most
Appreciate you so much.
truthful way. And when is the retreat?
September 18th. through the
Incredible.
28th.
Gorgeous. Incredible. That sounds so
Paris, and
exquisite.
then Normandy.
Tantalizing.
Oh yeah, it's
I
gonna be
love
great.
it.
I'm
Great.
really
So
excited.
fantastic. Well, Gina, I just feel like people are definitely going to want to know where they can find more of you. And since this is a podcast that gets broadcast globally, then it's important for people to know how to find you. These books, I can't believe it. They're incredible. They are so incredible. And
I think Instagram at Gina Maron,
okay.
GinaMaron, is the best place because I'm there all the time.
Awesome. And can't wait.
And I have like a link tree with stuff that's available.
great
little mini things.
That's a good
little free
place.
offers.
Great for people to find how they can get more of
And
you.
my podcast
Yes, and your podcast
is all about you.
Yeah. Is it called All About You? So great. Yeah, another place where people can find uplifting, inspiring media and things that will build their energy field, not take away from it. Well, I love you, Gina, and I'm so glad you came on In the Knot today. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for having me.